You know, the pendulum has swung so far for dads this last generation. Like never before is the expectation so high that they are this all-seeing, all-knowing support person, and they've never had a baby either.
Leading up to the birth, fathers are going to have a range of different challenges, and it's probably what's normal is to have a mix of different emotions and feelings about the birth, about becoming a father.
We've only been there for 50 years, so it's no wonder, and it's understandable that we might not have, that kind of that wisdom around birth, that we can actually just approach it without fear.
What do you mean we've only been there for 50 years?
Well, we've only been in the room supporting birth for 50 years.
Okay.
So men started entering the birth suite around the 1970s.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's when we started to support women during labour, and we're still kind of not really in the room. What am I meant to be doing? And I think through this conversation, you're realising there's actually a lot you can be doing. There's the lack of knowledge might cause fear.
Definitely.
I think the antidote to fear is knowledge. Do you think you can watch her in labour, in distress, in discomfort?
I think it'll be hard, but I think that, I don't know. I think so, yep.
I think that's one of the hard things. So, so have a think about how you might
as long as I'm, being active in supporting her and not just standing there feeling helpless.
Yeah, that's right. And I think if you're, the more you can understand the process of birth, the less you're going to be impacted by watching her in distress. Because you just say to yourself, oh, this is all just normal. This is childbirth,
Yeah.
So now I'd like to talk to you about building confidence. And when we talk about this, it's actually about not only building your confidence, it's actually about helping Chloe to build her confidence as well. Because it's really important that both of you have confidence in a range of areas that allow you to go into this with a strong mindset. So can you think of any kind of components of confidence that might be needed as you're approaching birth during pregnancy and early parenting?
No.
No. All right, well, good answer. All right, so first of all, maybe Chloe wants to have confidence in her ability to have a home birth.
Yeah.
That's an important component for a home birth.
Yeah, definitely.
She also wants to think, another thing that might be on her mind is her own confidence in her mothering ability. That can also influence her confidence moving into birth.
Good point, yeah.
So how about your confidence in your ability to support birth?
Now I feel like, my confidence is building, but it fluctuates.
Yeah. And then we also have your confidence in your fathering ability, because that can affect the way that you relate to Chloe. If you're thinking to yourself, oh, I don't have any good role models in my past, or my dad wasn't around, or any of those kind of components, those things might actually, reduce your confidence in your ability to be a good father, and that can actually impact on your ability to be a good support person. Her confidence in you and the people that are surrounding her, say your midwife, her mother, her sisters,
my parents as
your
well.
Your parents, they're in
those
this,
people.
and we're going to go into each one of these individually. So,
okay.
Another one is her confidence in your relationship. If she thinks you're not going to be around after the birth, or you're just not really, very connected at this time, then that can actually come up in labour.
Yeah.
It can come up during pregnancy.
Yeah.
It can definitely come up during early parenting. That's where your relationship challenges kick in. So another one is shared confidence in care providers. So for your case, again, it's the midwife, but if you were birthing in a hospital, you have to have confidence, you and Chloe have to have confidence that you believe them and you trust them.
Which is a possibility in our case. It might happen. We might go to hospital if the midwife says we need to.
Yeah, it is a possibility. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. And you also have to have a shared confidence in the process of childbirth. That's a really important component, because if you don't have confidence that birth knows what it's doing, that's when you might get a bit fearful, a bit anxious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fear, unfortunately, has become almost a normal part of the experience of pregnancy moving into labour and birth. So talking to mums about reducing their own fear and dads about how they reduce their own fear, but also how do they reduce mum's fear in the labour. And we do that as doulas by expressing and talking about the fear in the first place, but then also how can we create a safe place? How can we create something that keeps that adrenaline away?
I do think that we do have evidence that the process of labour and birth, as in the physical process, is enhanced by the woman being in an environment in which she feels secure and relaxed. And we know that the process of labour and birth is impacted negatively if the environment is one in which she does not feel relaxed or empowered, or if she feels fearful.
Again, your attitude to witnessing that in a calm frame of mind, without really, without freaking out too much, because as soon as you freak out, then she might see it or she might feel it, and that might cause some problems. Has she ever done anything before that's like an endurance thing? Has she climbed a mountain?
Yeah, we for my dad's 60th, we went to Tassie and did the Frenchman's Cap bushwalk, which is in the alpine southwest area of Tasmania, and she's not much of a bushwalker, but she became a very good bushwalker.
So it was a challenge for her.
Massive challenge, yeah.
Well, that's your opportunity here, is to actually bring that back up and say, hey, you climbed 3 caps, you can do this too. You know, or you find something in her past where you can bring it up and leverage that achievement and bring that up for her, so she can, you can fill her sails.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Good point.
It's good to maybe have that kind of discussion. How does she feel about these things that are coming up? Remind her of reasons that she's going to be doing great.
Yeah.
One of the things I like to do was to thank my partner for her hard work. All the time, you're being a great mum. This is fantastic. You're doing a good job. You're doing a great job.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is what we call the wheel of continuous support. When we created this image, we thought about all the physical things you could bring to bear on supporting birth. And then we thought about the emotional things that you could also help with. And then we looked into other components like time and gut feeling and kind of those kind of things. You want to be calm and focused. Calm, use your brain to work out how you can remain calm during that whole labour, because it's really important. As we mentioned, the adrenaline is our enemy. We want to be confident and present. So you're always engaged. You're always watching what she needs. Does she need anything at the moment? Is she reaching for a cup? Is she licking her lips? Is there anything you can get her? You might want to ask her. You might not. You just intuit these things sometimes.
How can we create a safe place? How can we create something that keeps that adrenaline away? Things like massage. So getting dads in there, getting those hands-on massage, kissing, touching. Again, coming back to soft voices, using the bath, using the shower, creating, less people in the room, the better. Always, I'm really, labour and birth is not a spectator sport. So making sure that parents have prepared themselves really well at the start, that they have a birth plan, a wish list or preferences, so that everybody in the space or anyone who comes into the space knows exactly what this family is wanting. So they've already set something up. And then for dads to come back to that, always come back to that if that starts to deviate. That will really help keep the space calm, keep the oxytocin flowing, and hopefully you'll have a baby in your arms in no time.
When we had our babies, and my wife is a very independent human being. She had a very specific perspective on how she wanted her pregnancy and her birth to be. And my role in that was to be respectful, but it was also to be supportive. And it was really interesting when I realised how much she valued my involvement. She didn't need me to tell her what to do. She didn't need me to be in charge or to give her instructions. But when I stood by her, that empowered her enormously. When she knew that I had her back, when she knew that I was interested, then actually that increased her confidence and her sense of purpose.
Active listening without fixing. As blokes, we really love to fix stuff. We always try and fix things before the end of a conversation. But during pregnancy and even early parenting, sometimes we just have to listen and not go to a solution immediately.
The early stages of active labour, where I'm like, oh, this is getting a bit serious now. But then once I had the conversation with the midwife, she really calmed myself down. Not that I was like going full anxiety. I was just like, I don't know, what do I need to do here? And she just said, just focus on the softening mantra, focus on the breathing techniques, get her back in the present moment. Massage her, hold her, just put your hand on her, like just simple things just to get Katie back into feeling, back into her heart space and out of her head. Which is where the fear was coming from.
The most incredible fathers that I have seen in a labour and birth have literally had me crying in the corner because of the incredible selflessness that they have brought to the space. They encourage their partner to a point where it's so moving to see. They have no fear themselves, and they trust deeply in the process of labour and birth, and they trust deeply in the power of, their partner who is in the labour. And it makes a significant difference to the feeling and vibration in the room and to how well, that woman does in her labour.
You talked about active birth positions before, and I really recommend you actually go and find out more about those because they can be really handy. Affirmations can be really powerful in the right conditions. But it's worth noting that, if you find something that's working, just continue it.
Until it stops working.
Until it doesn't work.
Or you're told it doesn't work.
And then find a new one.
Yeah, okay.
If you can, yeah. So what about her confidence in you and the rest of her support circle? So you mentioned the support circle. Who do you recognise as part of that, in that?
Family, parents, both of our parents.
Has she got sisters?
Yep, 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are they, what age are they? Are they older?
I'm going to get in trouble. 21 and 19.
Okay.
Yeah. So you're both younger.
So
Yeah.
she's the eldest?
She's the eldest.
Okay, and they haven't had children before?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right. So would you say that their attitude towards birth is really positive and you can do it and it's no problem?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I know that they're very supportive of whatever she chooses to do, which I think is really important. So she does have a good support system within her immediate family.
That's really good.
And, all my sisters have had children and she speaks to them.
Acknowledging that different things might happen for both of you, but together you're going to be stronger by building on the resources that each of you have to get yourselves through that situation. So really this is where consolidating your relationship, talking about your expectations, talking about how you're travelling through the whole experience is really, really important, because by doing that and having that open communication, you can be really best placed to support each other, because there are going to be times where both of you need to build on each other's resources and strengths to really get through it. So it's really about taking this opportunity to, really consolidate that you are a team and you're in this together.
When dads can step up and feel confident and, and the couples working together, it's going to shift that paradigm.
Doing the inner work, like beforehand. So all, like the fears, there's limiting beliefs that we have, the anxieties and the fears. And, Kate and I, we've been really involved in the personal development side of our lives for the last 5 years. And really understanding what are the conditionings that aren't serving us, and what are the conditionings that are serving us, what are the things that have been passed down as parents from our parents that, were just sort of given to us, and what are the cultural things that, really aren't serving us as well. So we got clear and became really self-aware on that. And that really allowed us to become more present, for one, You know, it's not living in anxiety, living in more present moments. So really doing that inner work was, for me, is I think one of the most important things. I'm not sure how I would have, and even Katie, how well the birth would have gone if it wasn't for the work, that type of work beforehand.
I feel like I want to talk about how in today's society, women and their partners are so fearful of birth because there is so much negativity around it. Women who have positive birth stories feel like unable to share them because they say to me they don't want to make, you know, Mary, who had an unplanned cesarean, feel bad, do you know? And there's a danger in that. Most women are able and wanting, and it is achievable to have an amazing, incredible, empowering birth experience. And we need women to share these stories, these positive, wholesome, awesome stories.
I think there's no such thing as a perfect father, and knowing that if we're consistent enough in our nurturing and our caring for our child, that we're going to be a good enough father. I think it can be really helpful, you know, sometimes for fathers just to kind of settle their expectations around what they can do. You know, being a father isn't about doing everything. It's not about teaching your child to be a really good sports person, or, you know, really good at school, or imparting all this information. It's about being there consistently over time.